Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a acrylic painting with herbs and flowers. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there. Brain freeze. Anyhow, it should be a really fun project. It's very easy. We will be doing it live for you, and it'll be about maybe an hour or so, I think. Very good beginner project. So let's get started with that. Okay, I've got my husband Mark here with me today.
Hey there, everybody.
He's manning chat for us, and this is my example painting here. We're going to be using acrylics today, and I'll go over our palette really quick with you. And you're going to have to show the palettes, hon. Thanks. Okay, I'll just get that on there. Titanium white, unbleached titanium, carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, dioxazine purple, quinacridone magenta, cadmium red medium, cadmium yellow medium, phthalo green yellow shade, phthalo blue green shade, and ultramarine blue. Okay, whew, that was a lot to remember. And you'll also want to have like a credit card or some sort of scraping tool for a palette knife for the background, and a large brush. And then if you want to do the background a little bit simpler, we can use Qtips. I'll show you how to do the flowers with Qtips. Or if you have brushes that you want to use, you can kind of use maybe a Filbert and a couple of small rounds. And those will get you through this painting. So let's start here. I've got a 9 by 12 inch gesso board all ready to go. It's already pre-gessoed, so I don't have to do anything. And I'm going to get a little bit of water on my brush and just dab it off on the side. We've kind of moved our palette cam around so that you can see my water, because I feel like it's kind of important for you to be able to see when I'm loading my brush up and how. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this unbleached titanium and black. We're going to make a nice dark gray with this. And that unbleached titanium's got a little bit of like a yellow tone in it, so it'll really kind of warm up this brown, make it a really pretty, or warm up the gray and make it a little bit more like closer to brown. I'm just going to do this vertical, and I'm not really worried about mixing this all together smoothly so that I get some streaks in there. I'd want kind of some of that dark and light streaking to happen. I'm going to try not to bounce this too much on my... In fact, I'm going to take that off for now. I have it tilted so that the light seems to catch it more when I have it flat, so the tilt kind of helps the shine, but for this you're not going to really matter that much. It'll keep it from making noises for us. So if you're joining us live, we're welcome to you. We are really excited to have you join us for our live shows. If you've got questions for me, Mark can answer them. No, Mark can ask me.
I can answer them all right.
Yeah, exactly. Almost said that. Well, he does try to answer most of them. So if it's something that he already knows, he'll answer it in chat. But if it's something that he's not sure about that pertains to what we're painting today, then you can post those and he'll try to get those to me.
That's right. We have somebody who's watching the first time, I believe, from Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's cool.
And I'm sure all over the world.
I've heard that's a beautiful area. Never been.
Yeah, no, never been.
All right, there we go. So that's our first layer here. I'm just trying to get it all down. You can kind of see how it's streaked with some of that lighter color in there. And then I'm going to clean my brush out in a separate thing. I don't want to get my water dirty. So I've got another water thing here.
So we got the water you can see her not use.
Right. Well, it's...
Check.
It's so dark. I didn't want my water to turn gray right off the bat, so well, it's already... My dirty water was already dirty, so...
So that's
clean very
interesting.
well.
So that's a good tip for people actually. You know,
Yes.
have 2 things of water.
Yes,
possibly.
one for kind of cleaner. Yeah, because it gets messy. Okay. Ideally, I would let this dry completely, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to kind of go on and hope for the best here. I'm going to mix up some lighter gray, and I'm going to use the same 2 colors here. I'm just going to go ahead and actually use all of that unbleached titanium there. And then I'm going to grab ultramarine blue and burnt umber in about equal parts. And I'm going to mix that with, excuse me, lost my voice there. Mix that with the unbleached titanium. So ultramarine blue, burnt umber, and unbleached titanium here. It'll make kind of a blue-gray color. It's really pretty. And we're going for a couple of shades lighter maybe than that black-gray. I'm going to go ahead and scoop up all the rest of that black too and just kind of mix it all in there. And I'm going to need to put out some more of the black because I'm going to need it, but I'm really trying to kind of get that all mixed in pretty well. Okay, let me get some more black out. And I'll put out some more unbleached titanium too. So, ran out. All right, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to, and I've kind of taken my time with this so I can let this dry a little bit. So I don't want to lift off the paint off of it. So I'm going to scoop up, I'm going to kind of smush it down so I get most of it off of the credit card. And then I'm going to scrape through to get some just on one side of it there, just a little bit kind of on one side. And then I'm going to lay it down kind of at an angle and scrape downwards. And if our background is dry enough, which it looks like it's doing okay.
If only you had somebody who had drying experience.
Well, I just didn't want to have to pull you off your duties there. Because I'll have to have you dry it again for this after I do this. So.
Oh, so you don't want to pay me overtime?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I'm paying, yeah. Exactly.
Get on the cheap.
Paying you by the
first one's free. Second one is a charge.
Exactly. So I got to be economical about it.
Hey, somebody asked, would you be able to do this also with a palette knife?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could use a palette knife for this. It'd be basically the same thing. You would just kind of lay it, scoop it up on the side of the palette knife and just kind of scrape it a long ways. So,
just with the credit card, it seems like it's a wider surface area.
Yeah, it is. It just kind of, and it's a real common tool. It's easy to find and it's easy to use. So I feel like it goes on a little bit smoother or it goes a little bit better. It's kind of blending a little bit with the background, which I'm not loving, but not waiting for it to dry. It's kind of starting to blend a little bit instead of, like, this is kind of more the effect that I'm looking for. So I think some of these areas are, like in here, it's just kind of smushing together instead of, okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab a little bit of black, mix that with it. I'm going to do a little bit of black and over the top of some areas. How that'll...
And people in chat like
effects.
The technique that you do in here.
Yeah, I love this. I use it a lot.
Especially Denise. She wanted to make sure you knew.
Denise loves it. Okay, I'm glad. I think Denise and I would be BFFs because I love it too. So let's get coffee sometime. Okay, let me see here. I'm trying to get it to lay down over here. It just doesn't want to go down there. So I'm going to give up. All right, now I'm going to tap it through the middle of that black to get some all along that leading edge there. And I'm just going to kind of figure out a couple of places where I might want boards to go, like seams in my boards. And I'm just going to try to do this vertically. Now you could always put a ruler down to kind of help you get it straight, which I'm probably not going to be completely straight, but we'll try. There we go. And I'm just going to run it vertically through it. There we go. Let's do one right here.
Somebody also had mentioned that they were really appreciative of the multi-cameras to see your palette and stuff like that.
Good.
And I made the comment in chat, but also here that, you know, it's only because of the great support we have from the people on Patreon.
Yep. Patreon has allowed us to get all kinds of new equipment and audio equipment, so now you don't hear me breathing like Darth Vader during the show. It's just nice. It was like right under my chin, so it was here, like...
I'll see if I can add those effects in.
It's okay.
Over here on the board.
It's all right. All right. I got these ones a little closer together over here. I don't know what happened there. Actually, I might... I'm going to move this one over. Do it there, and then move this one. Do one here. We'll just scrape that whole one out. Okay. And then I'm going to just kind of go over these to kind of blend them in a little bit. They don't have to be super dark. So I'm going to kind of go, whoops, scrape down through to kind of smush them down into our palette. Okay, there we go. So you can kind of see the wood grain, the little look like wood slats. I think this one I'm going to kind of cover up a little bit right here because I can still see that one a little bit. But you can see how you can make a little corrections if you want to move things around. Not a big deal. And honestly, I find like with this technique, the more is better. You know, that's not always true with acrylic painting, but this one, you could really, you know, add other multiple colors. And the only thing you want to avoid is getting it so that it's all like a solid color. You know, if you're starting to do it so much that it's all turning into one color, then that's a problem. May want to get that looked at, but Scrapers Anonymous or whatever.
And I kind of want to ring the cowbell because we got 305 watching right now.
What?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I know.
That's great.
Thanks for everybody for enjoying it.
Okay. All right.
Us.
So that's good for now. Not too bad. 18 minutes. Let's get you blow drying that if you would, hun. Thank you. See if I can find our little guy here. This is our mascot. This is what I do to fill time while Mark's blow drying for me. So if you're new to the channel, this is Mark's creation. He's our stickman mascot, and just a little bit of fun. Let's give him some hanging herbs off of his fence here. Whatever it is what we're painting that day, we kind of try to combine and do a little something fun on him. So we'll give him some lavender hanging off of his fence over here. You can see our raven from the other night. Did our raven painting, which was super fun. That was I'd been wanting to do a painting that had the blow effect, like the blow painting with the kind of splatters and streaming with the straw. So that was a fun one. Mark even helped me with that one.
What did I help you with?
The raven. Okay, there we go. So he's
yeah.
got some lavender hanging off of his fence there. Okay. I was stretching on that one. I don't know what to do. Good enough. Okay, so I'm going to use my chalk here. You can use whatever you have handy, watercolor pencil or something like that. This is just regular school chalk. I find that it works really well for sketching. And I'm going to just do kind of right in the middle. I'll do a nice long one that goes almost top to bottom here. And the top, it's going to kind of flare out a little bit. And then on the sides, it's going to kind of come down sort of at an angle. So it's going to get narrower right there where the tie is cinching it. And then I'm just going to do some random sort of sticks down like that. And then for the sage, I'm going to go a little bit lower, do a few stems there, do my little tie, just kind of some lines side to side. And then the leaves are going to be kind of like this shape. They are kind of long and pointed. I'll do several of those. And they're kind of going like that. I think that'll be good. And I'm going a little bit shorter with this than the lavender, so make it a little bit shorter. Ooh, super chat.
Just waiting for a break there.
Okay.
A super chat from Kim. And she says, thank you for doing another credit card tutorial. Love the technique.
You are welcome.
And thank you so much, Kim, for your donation.
Yes, thank you. I debated doing just solid credit cards and Q-tips because I do, I love me a Q-tip. But I did do mine with brushes, so I'll show you both ways. But yeah, I gotta have the credit card in there. So this one is going to have kind of multi-layers. So I'm just going to do kind of a layer there, and then another layer, and then another layer of little sticks, or stems, or whatever. And then this one was a little bit higher than this. So it kind of varied the height. I figured there's probably nails back here that they're hanging on. And if you wanted to do nails, you could do that and have them looped around the nail if you want to get real fancy. I just figure it's probably behind the bunch, so you're not really seeing it. Okay, so another.
Another one.
Wow.
This one from Joanna.
Thank you, Joanna.
And she's asking, would you ever consider doing a paint pour tutorial?
A what?
A paint pouring tutorial?
I've bought some paint pouring stuff, and I just haven't tried it. So I need to kind of play with it a little bit. I just haven't found time to.
Well, here, I'll just pour some out on the floor over here real quick.
You'll paint some?
Yeah.
You'll test it.
I'll just do it on the desk right over here.
Sounds good.
I mean, it seems easy enough. I could do that. Just pour it out of the jar.
This one's similar to this one where I'm kind of doing it in tiers. There's going to be several layers of flowers kind of mixed in. It's not like long stems like the lavender was. And then this one is kind of sticks. So I'll go a little bit higher again. This one kind of was dipping low, so I'm kind of varying the heights of these. And this one just kind of has some random sticks, sort of wavy lines for our berries to go on. Like that. Okay. And this one's low. So 2 lows. This one's kind of medium low, and then these 2 are a little bit shorter. It's kind of good to vary up our. I've already got paint all over my hands. We'll soon be having a sponsor. I won't say who, but it'll be exciting to be working with this company.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity. I think.
Company, so I definitely need it with my hands. It's a good fit. It makes sense for me. With as messy as I am with my painting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my angle brush. But if you were wanting to just use a credit card and Q-tips, what you could do is do your lines of your greenery with the credit card and just do the lines just like we did the black here. You just kind of load it up on the edge and just kind of scrape to add your lines here. So I'm going to do a similar technique with the liner brush or the angle brush here. So I'm going to grab some What color is this, honey?
It's green.
I didn't know. I was just testing to see if you were listening earlier.
Yeah, it's green.
Phthalo green, yellow shade. And
it's black.
Burnt umber.
Brownish black.
Close. You're close.
I mean, the paint stores would be so much easier if I was to name all the paints.
Yeah.
Add
and
some
a
white.
Bit of white. Well, yeah. It is white.
And there's some dirty white next to the white. I'm kind of off my game over here with this new setup I got.
What? Oh, with your, you can't see what I'm doing at all.
Yeah. Well, I can see on the screen, but I have to peek around.
You can't see me. Mark's hiding behind a wall of soundproofing tiles now.
Yeah.
So
they came in today and opened the box, and I got all excited, and Angela just sat there.
I was like, what?
And then our teenage son came out, and he saw him like, oh.
It's a guy thing.
It's a guy thing.
I was like, not excited at all. But I did get a palette knife that I was excited about. So that's about soundproofing, not so much. All right, so I'm kind of holding my brush upright like this, and I'm just kind of using that edge to kind of draw these lines of my greenery. I'm not worried about the lines being perfectly straight or anything like that, because most of this is going to get covered up. I'm going to grab some white. And the burnt umber just kind of tones down that phthalo green, because the phthalo green is such a bright circus green. It's super bright. And if you used it straight out of the tube, it's just going to overwhelm you. Your painting will, I don't know. There's times when you want that super bright green, but most of the colors that you're, like phthalo blue, phthalo green, ultramarine blue, quinacridone magenta, most of the time you're not using them solid straight out of the tube and going straight to the canvas. Most of the time you're using them to, as kind of primary colors to mix with other colors, because they are super vibrant, super saturated, and they do wonderfully for mixing, but they're not always the best color choice on their own, if that makes sense. So,
hey, real quick, what brush are you using?
This is a 3/8 inch angle Zen brush. All of the materials that I'm using are linked down in the description. So if you're interested in finding them, the Strathmore mixed media pad that I did my example on is in there, and all the brushes from the brush guys. Be sure to use the code Angela Fine Art to get a discount from the brush guys if you buy from them. All right, I'm going to do one more layer with a really, really bright, almost white green here. And just kind of layering in. And this one I'm going to go really selective with. I don't want to overpower everything. I want to still have some of that dark green showing. So I'm going to kind of go in between a few like that. That's about all we need. See how the 3 layers of green really makes a difference. We'll be doing that on our flowers too. We'll have three levels of value, a dark, medium, and a light. And doing that will give your painting dimension. So it doesn't matter what colors you use, as long as you do a dark, medium, and light, you'll be pretty well set. Version of the same color. Just add more white, or add a little bit of black, or add a little bit of a darker color that's in the same color family, to deepen it up. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's see what I want to do next. I did each one of these a different green too, just to kind of make it a little bit different. Since it's herbs, they all kind of have a little bit different color tone. So for the sage, I did phthalo blue, phthalo green, and burnt sienna. That'll make kind of an aqua blue color. So those two together make a turquoise, and then the burnt sienna just kind of tones it all down and makes it a little bit more of a normal, natural looking color. Then I'm going to grab burnt, no, I guess I used white. Let me see. I wrote it all down so that I remember. White, yes. Too many colors. Plus it's been a couple days, so Okay, so now you can see that color. That's really pretty. Let me add a little bit more burnt sienna to kind of make it a little bit softer sage color. Still looking a little bit bright. That looks good. All right, I'm grabbing a little bit of the dark, so I have the dark, medium, and light colors on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put those on. The medium is pretty much the only color that's showing up at this point. And I'm going to kind of fill in my leaves. And I'm not really worried too much about my outline. I just kind of did that to give me a rough estimate of where to start, but I'm going to get that dark color and get that dark color up in here in between the leaves, so there's some contrast. Doing each one kind of individually so that I kind of know where it's going, like that. And then I can go back in with that lighter color and add a few little highlights and pop out some brighter highlights on top. And I'm not really worried about blending it all in. It's actually going to blend a little bit since the colors are still sort of wet. I just did it quickly. If they're dried, you can still do this. You just might have to blend it a little bit like this, you know, or use your finger to kind of blend it a little bit on the ends. Okay, there we go. I'll let that dry. I'll probably give it another coat or two of different colors, but I think that looks good for now. Maybe add one more right in here. There we go. Clean out that brush. Actually, while I've got it, I need to add a little bit more up in here. I noticed that stem is not really filled in all the way. Some of that dark and light color. There we go. For the end here, I'm going to do some yellow with the phthalo green and some burnt umber. So this is my phthalo green and burnt umber. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it. That was this color, just adding a little yellow to that first color that I used. Phthalo green, burnt umber. And we'll put that here. Adding the cadmium yellow medium to it. Just running it quickly, using that edge to kind of flick in and create these lines. Like that. I'm going to add a little bit of white. Maybe a little bit more yellow. Really brighten it up. Wow, that was somebody's... Is it hunting season out here?
I think it's getting close.
Somebody in the neighborhood's getting a head start on hunting season. We live right up next to a wilderness preserve, so there's no telling. I don't think they're supposed to hunt in there, but it's probably on private property.
Yeah, there's an area where people go and they sight in their rifles and stuff.
That scares me. Okay, there we go. So a little bit lighter highlights, and I've kind of just overlapped them like this with my brush strokes. So, you know, we want to kind of avoid having all of your brush strokes sort of lining up in a perfect line, even up here where you know, where the ends are. I'm kind of varying the heights. And that's, you know, deliberately so that they have a little bit more natural look. So just kind of keep that in mind. Be mindful of that while you're painting yours. Because the tendency is to get into a rhythm when you're painting and to just repeat the same, repeat. And of course, in nature, nothing's exactly perfect or repeated exactly the same over and over again. I mean, I'm sure there's a few things, but it usually kind of makes things look a little bit less natural if you know, everything's too structured. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to use the same colors over here. This time I'm just going to do the yellow with the phthalo green, so it's a little bit different, not with that brown in it. It's going to be a little bit brighter. Very similar to what I did over here, just kind of overlapping, and some long, some short, but kind of stacking in rows, because we'll have different heights of flowers all kind of tucked in here. So there we go. And really the natural board underneath is creating these dark areas. I don't really even have to go through and put in all of the really dark areas. I might do just a little bit, but the natural, this is just straight phthalo green. You can see how kind of really bright it looks. I'm going to use it very sparingly in here. Okay. Clean that out. We ended up doing all of these sticks with this brush. It's working out pretty well, so I'm just going to stick with it. So this one we're going to do burnt umber and phthalo green. And black for our sticks. It's just a little bit of the greenish color, and then we'll add a little bit of the unbleached titanium to create that kind of a gray-green color. Now, this is going to be real dark at first. Let me add a little bit more of this unbleached titanium so it'll show up against that background. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle side to side as I pull my brush to kind of do some sticks. Hold it upright. Make sure that you've pushed your brush to a good flat chiseled edge. See how it's not kind of flared out like this. If I was using a brush that was you know, that was doing this on the end, I couldn't get these fine lines. So you have to kind of push it so that it's got a nice fine edge so that you can draw these lines, and just, it makes it real easy to do these long lines. I'm barely touching it to the canvas. I'm not even hardly pushing down at all. Get a little water. I'm going to go back in and just add a few little sticks sticking out in random directions. And then a little bit more unbleached titanium. We'll add some really bright highlights to a few of these. We're just going to, because it's not really showing up very well against that background, so it's all about contrast with this. You know, if it's not showing up, just use a little bit lighter or a little bit darker color than whatever you've got on your brush. So until it starts showing up better, use the burnt umber. Just straight. There we go. Get some brown in there. That's good. A little bit more of the unbleached titanium. This one's a little bit more involved. So you could always do just grasses if you didn't want to do the sticks. If this kind of stresses you out, do whatever makes you happy with your painting. This is yours. Get creative with it. Change it up. Doesn't have to be like mine. I'm just showing you how I did mine. So the idea is just to kind of give you some tools and techniques to give you some confidence to do your own thing. Express yourself.
Yeah, in your
Grabbing
Facebook,
some black here.
in your Facebook group, Lily, we've been seeing people who've been following you for a while now starting to branch out and paint some of their own creations using these techniques.
Yep.
It's great to see that skill develop over time.
Exactly.
And gaining the confidence.
Mm-hmm. Or they'll take one of my tutorials and kind of do something with it that's their own, make, yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Also selling them at craft fairs. There's a lot of craft fairs going on this time of year. I get questions all the time about craft fairs. Yes, you can sell your paintings from my tutorials. I have absolutely no problem with that. I hope you make lots of money so you can buy lots more art supplies. The only thing, it's good to credit the artist. So if you are, especially if you're sharing it on social media, it's awesome if you would give a shout out to the original artist. So if you wanted to put on the back of your thing, original tutorial from Angela Anderson, that way people know where the inspiration came from. And it also helps me and gets more people knowing about what I'm doing. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us. All right, I'm going to just gently use my paper towel. I'm going to wipe off my chalk marks here. So now that I have all of this down, I want to be able to see my outlines and make sure that they're all clean, and I don't want to add anything to them before I add my flowers. So not too hard, right? This one is really a lot easier than it looks. It's very deceptively easy. I love these kind of flowers because they just are so fun to do. And this time of year, it's good. It's that kind of harvest feeling in this painting, I think. You can get the dried flowers. It's into summer. Time to hang up the herbs to dry. Getting ready for the winter. We're all, homesteady, right?
Oh, that's us.
It's us. Exactly.
We're the outdoorsy type.
We watched the Pioneer Woman, so it's about as pioneer.
We watch the Nature Channel.
Exactly. It's about as down home as we get. I buy organic fruits and vegetables at the grocery store. We do need to go to the farmer's market, but they have it during on Saturday morning, so I never can make it because we're always kind of doing prep for the shows. Maybe one of these days we'll have our shows on a different day and be able to go to the farmer's market. All right, so I'm going to double load my brush for the little sticks up here, or the little whatever. If you're using Q-tip, you can do the same thing on your Q-tip, or just kind of do one color and then do another color over the top. But I've got the light unbleached titanium and burnt umber on here, and I'm just going to make my little lines for my ties with this, and it'll kind of already do the work for me. Make it look like there's a highlight on my little, isn't that cool? So I'm just kind of pulling through one side and then pulling through the other side, turning it over so that I have paint, and it's really globbed on there. It's pretty thick. You kind of need it thick to be able to kind of come off on the canvas. And just keeping the light color toward the top so it looks like it's kind of the highlights coming from above. And that's about all you need to do. It's pretty easy. Lots of fun. You want to try it?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay. All right, last one. It's supposed to look like kind of that jute rope stuff, so kind of that natural tie. And then if you want to, you can make a couple of them have bows, or have this one, here I'll kind of give it like a knot there, and then have some ties coming off the side here, sort of that way, and one down here, sort of like that. And the rope is very kind of stiff, so it doesn't bend like a ribbon would. So it's pretty, you know, the ties kind of don't tie like a real pretty bow would. It kind of, they're sort of a little bit more stiff, so you can be a little bit more angular with your bows if you want to make any bows like that. Let's do one on this one and we'll call it good. Okay, there we go. They can totally leave those out and leave them all like this if you want. So whatever makes you happy. Okay, so now we get to do the flowers. Are you excited?
I'm surprised, to be honest.
Why?
Because we haven't done flowers in like, gosh, when was the last time?
It's been a while. We done birds. We did lighthouse. It's been a few weeks,
yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I know, I've been missing it.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I had a hard time sleeping last night going, man, when is she going to paint flowers again?
Going through withdrawals. I'm going to make a violet here with the quinacridone magenta and doxazine purple. Sorry, people are like, what the heck? Get to the painting. Stop. We're silly. And I'm just going to tap for the berries. Tap, tap, tap. This is where the Q-tips would come in real handy because they have a circular tip. So I'll do a few with the Q-tips. You can see how easy they make these berries actually make these perfect little circles. It's really great. And the more you use the Q-tip, the more kind of fuzzy the edges get, and so the kind of more natural they start to look as far as the flowers go and stuff. So they kind of cluster along the stems of the sticks, so just kind of create these little groupings of berries. It's kind of hard to see yet. Once I put the lighter color on, you'll be able to tell more. I'm going to grab a little bit of the cadmium red medium, mix that with the quinacridone magenta. I'll make this kind of bright cherry berry red. Cherry berry. And we'll go over the top of some of these with that. I didn't use the cadmium red in mine original. I just did quinacridone magenta. So if you want to keep it more like a pink mauve color like this, don't use the red. But I kind of, when I got it done, I thought, you know, I kind of wanted the berries to be a little bit more red because it's a little bit more of a fall feeling to me. So I'm just going to go back over these dark purples and kind of in between too with my red. And really not being super careful with it. I think the more quickly you do it, sometimes the better it looks. So don't overthink it. Then a little bit of white. Grab some white. Make a really pretty highlight color. Mix it with that red. There we go. And put some red, some of that color on top of our berries. It doesn't have to go on all of them because some of them will be a little farther away, maybe underneath, so they'll be in shadow. So you can leave a few of them dark so that those will recede. few brighter highlights on a few of them.
Dave said that looks very nice.
Thank you, Dave. Oh gosh. I do say that I don't like puns, but you know what? I did use a pun in our. Mark was very proud of me in our recent email blast because I said paint like a Ross instead of paint like a boss.
I will say, when I read that on vacation, I did laugh.
Yeah, I was proud of that.
And okay, I'll confess here on live that I thought it was actually our son who did that, not you. Because surely she wouldn't do that.
You're probably thinking that I hadn't seen it yet and was going to be,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, my idea. So maybe you're rubbing off on me after all these years. I don't know. It made me chuckle. Okay, so there we go. Those are our berries. Let's do our yarrow, yellow, whatever. I don't know what we want to call it. I'm going to use the cadmium yellow, medium. I need to spray my palette. It's starting to get sticky. Grab some burnt sienna. A little tiny bit of that cadmium red. That'll just kind of brighten it up, make it a little bit more orangey for our deeper shadows on our yellow. Cad red and burnt sienna there. So we'll do the dark shade first, just like we did on this one. So those dark shadows will be the farthest away from us, so we want to do those first. Get those in there. Tapping. This time I'm tapping kind of little clusters that are sort of cup-shaped. Or, I don't know if you've seen the kind of yarrow. They have like a head to them that's sort of domed. So that's what I'm trying to replicate here. There we go, like that. I'm trying to keep it as random as I can so it's not too matchy-matchy. And then grabbing some of that yellow. And I've still got the other colors on my brush, so it's not like a perfectly clean yellow. Tap that in over the top. Also going kind of just above it, maybe a little bit, or like along the front edge so that it looks like maybe this part that's closest to us is sticking out a little bit more. Leaving a little bit of that dark color showing. There we go. And let's grab some of the white, mix that with our yellow. There we go. And tap in a little bit of white, yellow. The highlight color is always going to be kind of less. Your middle value color will be the most. Your dark and your lighter colors will be a little bit less. So keep that in mind when you're putting your dots and things on, that you'll probably do about, I don't know. I'm trying to think of fractions. It's not hard. It's not easy to do that while I'm painting, but you get the idea. So more of the medium yellow color, less of the highlight, and dark color. So really the dark color will be mostly covered up by the medium color, so you can kind of put equal amounts, but the highlights you definitely don't want to overdo. Alright, I think I still want a little bit brighter with this one though. I'm seeing now that this is dry, and acrylics do dry darker as they cure. So I'm going to make a really, really light pink and just do a few little really bright highlights on a few of these berries. Just very small little dots on a few of the brightest ones that maybe look like they'd be sticking out. There we go. Okay, now let's do our lavender. And if you did my lavender tutorial, this one is going to have the same colors, so they'll actually match. And I'm doing that purposefully so you can have coordinating painting. It's sort of semi-coordinating. So we're going to grab the dioxazine purple here and some titanium white. Make a nice soft purple. And I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue over here and mix that. And I'm going to start with those. This time I'm not going to go with the super dark purple underneath because it's almost too black. So I'm going to go with the color that's sort of the medium value here. It's still pretty dark, but it's not as dark as the dioxazine purple looks like black. It's almost the same darkness in value as black, so I want to lighten it up just a little bit. I'm picking out a few little stems, trying to kind of imagine where they're going, and just sort of doing little dabs all kind of in a row. Wider at the base and getting narrower at the tip. So a little bit wider here and narrow, narrow, narrow. By the time you get to the end, you'll just be doing single dots, sort of in a row almost. And they really don't curve a whole lot, so you can kind of do them almost straight. Like that. Get this one to start right in there. All right. Add a little bit of this lighter color that we mixed up. Blend it over the top. I'm kind of going in between so that it looks like you can see those darker areas of the purple in between and underneath. So I don't want to cover up over all my dark color. Lots of tapping. So very, very easy. I mean, really, even kids can do this. I would definitely do this as a project with my kids' class if I was still doing it with them, which I miss having them. Just don't have time to do it anymore. Okay. And I'm going to grab some phthalo blue, mix that with my purple color there. It's in my brush. Kind of makes a soft blue lavender.
So, which brush are you using right now?
This is the number 2 round. Yeah, I don't think I said that, sorry. So, bright highlight color. Lavender's got that kind of a little bit of blue tint to their flowers, so almost periwinkle color. Okay. Excuse me. Looks pretty good. I'll probably bunch these a little too close together, but that's alright. Let me get a little bit of that ultramarine blue color. I didn't really get any of that in there. Let's add a little bit of that. There we go. Got my purple. Really stop at whatever point you like it. So, I mean, I'm just kind of fussing with it at this point. It's just trying to get these ones to separate out a little bit visually. There we go. A little bit bright, almost white purple here. Just a few of these really bright highlights to kind of make it pop. There we go. Okay, that's good. Sorry, I am losing my voice today. I know that's an annoying sound, but okay, let's do this one. Now we'll add a little bit more of our highlight color to our sage. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white, mix that with my sage color that fortunately is still there. And I'm going to add a little bit of streaks along the tips of some of these. And I'm just looking for where I can kind of add some contrast. So wherever these are overlapping, I want to, you know, if I've got a dark area here, I'm putting that lighter color right up next to it. Will make the leaf come forward for us. Grab a little bit of phthalo blue. And I'm going to add a little bit of that brighter teal color in just a couple places. Just for a little contrast. Okay. Maybe add a little bit dark right up in here. Let's grab that phthalo green, phthalo blue, and burnt sienna mixture, nice and dark. We'll do a little bit of dark right up in there where the stems are coming down. There we go. Maybe right in here. Okay, and then one more layer of really bright, just along the leading tip of a few of these so that they look like they're kind of bending. Doesn't have to do it to all of them, just a few. All right, so we are almost done. Not bad. I think I want to add a little bit of green in between these lavenders. I think I see, you know, some place where I can kind of add a little bit. So I'm going to grab that burnt umber and phthalo green and some white. And I think just adding a little bit of, yeah, there we go. A little bit of stems in between there. That'll separate them out for me. I'm happier now. I also wanted to add a few little leaves to this, so I'm going to grab some of the phthalo green and yellow and maybe a little bit of white. And add a few little leaves. Ooh, super chat. Thank you.
We got a super chat from Joe P. There's no message, but thank you so much for your generous donation, Joe, and supporting our channel.
That's awesome.
We'll leave the lights on for the rest of the show.
No.
Okay? No, I think that's what they said in their message.
Joe was like, I want to see those disco lights.
They want the lights on for the rest of the show. That's what the message was.
Okay.
So there you go. Just going to deal with it. I'll turn off all the other lights too. So
please no.
Really get in the beat.
Okay, so I just added a few little leaves here and there, just because I wanted to. I don't know. I wasn't actually looking at a yarrow plant, so I don't know what their leaves look like, but it felt right, so we did it. All right, our last one is going to be our white, and we're going to add just a tiny bit of the yellow, maybe yellow-green to it to give it a little bit more of a kind of a natural, sometimes those whites that are in our garden have a little bit of green tint. So we'll start with that, kind of a greenish white. And I'm going to do little clusters of like white. These could be baby's breath or maybe, what is that? Chamomile. Another little white flower. They've got a yellow center too, so. Do little clusters like that. Then I'm going to grab the bright white and clean that out really well. It's not going to be easy to get a super bright white with that dirty water, so I'm going to take most of the water out of there. Try to get some clean white.
Do I need to get you some clean water?
No, it's fine. We're on our last one. I think it'll be okay. They can do it with theirs if they need to. And we'll dab in some white, brighter white. Here again, just kind of in and around that same area. And baby's breath are kind of fuzzy, so if you want to like tap straight up and down, you can get kind of more fuzzy, especially if you have a brush like this. You could maybe switch to a brush that's kind of already beat up and fuzzy and do that, use that. My brush is doing okay, I think. It's kind of already got a little bit of fuzziness to it. And just do a few like random ones, just kind of out over to sort of fill in visually. And maybe a couple, just a few tiny little yellow dabs. Maybe, if you want. And then I did feel like when I finished mine that there was a lot of red over here. That red kind of pulls your eye this way. So to kind of balance it, I put some red in the branches of this one. So I grabbed some of that quinacridone magenta color. It's a good little trick for unifying your paintings. And I just added a little bit of this quinacridone magenta to my greenery over here. You probably didn't even notice it in the example painting. All these little purple reds, but your eye will it just kind of helps your eye kind of go, oh, okay. Sort of balances the whole thing and makes it make sense visually, unifies your painting. So, good little trick. I could even use it a little bit up in here to kind of add a little bit of a purpley tone to some of these shadow areas on the sage too. So, but there we go. So not too bad. Let's see. Now we're not, yeah. Very good. I always like it when I get it in.
Are you signing this already?
I'm signing it. Yeah, it's done.
I'm not prepared for this. So what are you using to sign your painting with?
Using my Pigma FB. It's a fine brush. It means FB fine brush pen. Sakura is the brand, and link to that is down in the description as well. So hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you try it. It's super fun. Do your own thing with it. You could do all lavender if you wanted to, whatever floats your boat. But I'd love to see it, and you can share it with me on Thankfoot. Thankful Art on Facebook. The link to that is down in the description. You can also give me a thumbs up. Please share this with your friends if you know they like to paint too. It really helps our channel a lot. And if you want the traceable for this or any other bonus stuff, we're going to be painting a cornucopia tomorrow for my bonus Patreon video. I do one a month. And it'll be a really fun painting. A lot of fruits and vegetables. Good for fall. So that'll be our bonus video tomorrow. So if you want to join us for that, you can click on the link up in the iCards. There's a little circle that's got an I in it, a little letter I, and click on that. It'll take you to show you the link for my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. So if you're interested, it's also down in the description. Lots of stuff down in the description. All kinds of good stuff. All right. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time. And next week is Halloween. Next Tuesday, our live show will be Halloween. So we're going to have a shorter video, but I'll be showing you how to blend with different kinds of acrylic paints. So it should be interesting. I'll show craft paints and kind of a medium student body paints, and then your heavy body acrylics, and show you the difference in all three and how they blend. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.